So chapter 2, lesson 5. So scatterplots and lines of regression. So a lot of real life data would be used with scatterplots. Okay? And really it's just a set of data that we graph. It doesn't really make a nice line for us or anything. And a lot of times it's just dots. And sometimes it looks like it's just dots in random spots here. Okay? So that determines your correlation. So your correlation goes just like a line. If my dots are going to the right and going up, well, that's going to be a positive correlation. Okay? If they're going to the right and they're going down, they're decreasing, that's going to be a negative correlation. And if they're just random, they just look random, there's no real method or direction, that's going to be no correlation. Okay? Now, with these correlations, you can have a strong correlation. Okay? So this strong correlation means that these values are close to this line. Okay? So most of the values meet this trend. Weak correlation, okay? So here you can see the numbers still pretty good, still going down, but these numbers are kind of a little wider and a little more spread out from that line. Okay? Questions with that? Okay. Alright, so if you look at this first example, okay? I took this data and I put it in your chart already, okay? So it says, table below shows approximate percent of students who spent applications to 2 colleges of various years since '85, okay? So percent of people, okay, in years since '85. So I took that data and I put it in a spreadsheet for you, so it should match up, okay? Now, how do we create a scatter plot from this data? Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to copy, click and drag and highlight my data. Okay, I always include the 2 values up top, and you'll see why here in a little bit. Okay, so if you follow this little sheet here, then, okay, it says enter your data, select your data. Now in step, you know why it says 11? Oh, because this was on the bottom for some reason. So click insert. So you're going to click the insert button. Okay. Then you're going to click on chart. So you're going to click chart and it should pop up. Okay. Now, you can create what type of chart you have here. So chart type, you're going to click it and you're going to select, if you scroll down, there's a whole bunch of scatter plots here. You just want the small dot scatter plot. Okay. So hit insert chart. Again, this is where you guys pay attention. Okay. And then it says setup.
I'm on setup and showing.
Click the drop down.
Oh wait, no.
So now, okay, again, we can change, so x-axis, make sure x-axis is always going to be your years. So I have years going across the bottom, percent of people going up the side, okay? So basically, if you look at your chart, your left side is going to be your x, okay? So whatever is your independent variable would go into x values, okay? So if you're doing your own research, okay, whatever would be independent, and again, if you're dealing with time, it's always time. Doesn't matter, time's going to keep running, right? And then your other value would be your y, okay? So if you put it in your chart, like we did here with A and B, I'm going to move this over, okay? This first row would always be your x's, this will be your y. Okay? Does that make sense? So that'll save you a little bit of time here because you don't have to change it. Okay? If you mess it up and you need to change, you click on it and you can just see, just click the other one, whatever one you want. Okay? Now, we need to customize this chart. So you're going to click over here on the right side. Okay? You're going to click Customize. And you can change stuff in it if you want, but what way we have is pretty good. We're going to click on Series. Can't see that better. So you're going to click on Series, okay? And you're going to scroll down, and you should see something here that looks like Trend Line. Okay? So you're going to click on that Trend Line box, and it's going to pop up some new options for us. Okay? So you can see that it put the trend line right in there for us. Okay? And then if I scroll down, here. No. Oh, so label. Under label, click the drop down and hit use equation. This is the equation for that line. Okay? So your y-intercept is 19.2. Your slope is negative 4.48. Okay? So negative 0.448. And then click this show r squared. And we'll talk about r squared here in a minute. So r squared here in this case is 0.906. Okay? We're going to go back to our notes here. Okay? So now it says make a line of fit, linear regression, right? We did that, right? Strong negative correlation. So if I look at this chart, it's going down to the right, okay? And then how do I know if it's strong or not? Okay? And that's what this R value is. Okay? And I think it's in your notes somewhere. So this value here for R squared is 0.906. So if you look on that little chart, anything bigger than 0.9, 1 is perfect. Okay? If it's a 1, every point space is going to be on that line. Okay? So the closer it gets to 1, the closer those points are to the line. So this is 0.9. So this is a strong correlation. Okay? Anything between 0.8 and 0.9 would be fairly strong, and anything below 0.8 would be your weak. Okay? So this R squared tells us how strongly correlated that data is. Okay? It's really a reliability judgment. Okay? So the stronger this data is, the more reliable I can make an estimation. Okay? Does that make sense? Alright. So now we're going to use this here and answer a couple more questions. Okay? So strong negative correlation. Okay? Now, here it says use two ordered pairs to write a prediction equation. So when I do that and I put my line of regression in there, I can make an estimated line of regression. I can then pick 2 points, find my slope, right? Okay, so I took 318 and 1214, plugged into my slope formula, found my slope 4/9, plugged it into my equation, used my point here 318, solved for B, okay, and B was 19.33333. So 4/9, negative 4/9 was negative 0.444, okay. So this was just an estimated line of regression, okay. But again, if I'm making a scatter plot, I'm probably not going to just do this by hand because we have the technology, okay. And you can see it's pretty close to the one that's given to us, right? okay? But again, the stronger that data is, the closer you're going to be to this line that's given. If your data was a little weaker, you would be a little further away from what the computer might give you as a line of regression, okay? So then it says predict the percent of students who will send applications to college in 2010, okay? So again, now I can go back to my chart. In 2010, how many years passed 1985 would that be? 25. So we're looking for 25, right? So I can go down here to my charts. And again, if it's not on my chart, right, I can edit that. Okay. And I can go to customize. Horizontal axis, I think. No, yes. And I can choose a max and min. So I could put a 0. And now I need out to 25, right? To get to that. So we could put in 20. We could put in 26 or something like that. And you can see now my graph gets extended. And you can see here, so this value would be less than 10, greater than 5, right? So probably between 7 and 8, okay? And so I can make a prediction now based off of that chart. And we put 8 people before, okay? So 7, 8, even if it's probably a little further away from 9, okay? Does that make sense? Questions on that? All right, so don't worry about this too much. This will be helpful here with the correlation information here. Okay, so I'll give you this half sheet of paper. I have them. You won't have to worry about this too much since we're not graphing it on the calculator. But this correlation information you'll want to have and have it available, so you don't have to memorize it. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what we're doing. Now, I'll post the rest of these, and I have this information here, but we're going to do the worksheets together here. Okay. So we're going to take a look at the worksheet. Okay. But when I post this information will be here. So if you want additional graphs to practice, those are there. Okay. So go to. Okay, so 2.5 practice. So you can see the first information here. It says we're going to create a scatter plot, and again I put the data in my chart for us already. Okay, so I put that data in the chart for us already. So here's my 2.5 practice. Now, sometimes data will be given across. Okay, you should still be able to create a chart with this, but if for some reason your data, okay, you can flip it pretty easily if I highlight it. Okay, so if I copy this data, and maybe you guys already know how to do this. So copy the data, and then just below it I'm going to right click. If you hit paste special, so this transposed, okay, that's just going to take all my data and flip it. So if then we have horizontal. So does that make sense? So copy it, and then right click, paste special, transpose, and then flip it down for it. Okay. So again, you may know that already. Now, here's one other thing. So see how they give us this value here with 2 and we don't know what that is, okay? They want us to kind of find that value, okay? So, when I make my chart though, I want to take that data out. Alright? So, I still have it in my original chart, but I'm going to take out this 2, okay? And I'm just going to copy this and move it up so it matches up, okay? Sorry. So take out the 2. So we have my equation here and my r squared, okay? So looking at this data, okay, what kind of relationship do I have here? Yeah, strong, and it's going down to the right, so negative. So strong negative correlation, okay? Strong negative correlation.
Well, that's an answer to the homework.
So if you want to, you might be able to copy the chart. And then paste it into your your chart here. Maybe I'll put your chart right in here, I don't know. I guess if I open it in.
I make copy one.
Oops. That's not what I want to do. Oh, you don't have to. I thought maybe you'd be able to paste it right in there, but you may not be able to. Because it's not really it's a PDF, not a, okay. So, we have our chart. We have our linear regression. I would just write that data in here.
I just put it
Okay. So you don't have to sketch it or anything.
down.
Okay. So strong correlation, right? R value, R squared equaled what? 9 point something, wasn't it? 9.16. Okay. Oh, that's the notes. That's what I wanted. There it is. 9.16. You can write your line of regression, y equals negative 11.2x plus 41.1. Okay. Again, your slope here is your rate of change, right? Okay, slope here is your rate of change. Alright. So, once you have this information written down, click on number 2. Again, the data's in there. Okay? Again, I think you should just be able to create straight from this. Maybe, if I have it here, let's see. If I highlight this, again, inserts, charts, it should put that in there for us. Now, you may end up having to change your X's and your Y's based off of, does that make sense? Okay. Now in this case, no, that's good. X is good. Temperature, Y, that's fine. Okay. Wait a minute. I think I got an extra. I think my data's off, isn't it? That last number, something's not right with it. 10,400.
You put too much.
There you go. So you have to adjust that on your graph. And it adjusts your graph right away for you.
I don't even know where that is.
Okay. So change your. It was 10,004. No.
104,000.
It was 104,000. Change it to 10,400. Okay. So right here.